Isn't it amazing that Joe Biden can go in front of the reporters all the time and be confident he'll never be asked about Hunter Biden's laptop, which implicates him, of course. And that laptop, it's not some conspiracy theory. Now, we knew it was legit for a long time. Even liberals can't deny its authenticity anymore. The New York Times even verified it. It is astonishing. It came up today in a House hearing. But first, I'd like to bring in Kash Patel, former Trump White House official, also worked at the Department of Defense in the Trump administration as Defense Chief of Staff. Sir, welcome back. How are you?
Greg, it's so good to be with my fellow Strong Island man. I'm happy to be back.
We both grew up in the same town, 10 years apart or so, Garden City, Long Island. Kash, we gotta talk about that someday. So, Kash, look, isn't it extraordinary? This laptop now has been verified. Joe Biden can go around like it doesn't exist. He's not challenged on it. Why not?
I mean, just think, for your viewers, just think, if we were talking about Don Jr.'s laptop while President Trump was president, there would be 7,000 criminal investigations going from across America, overseas. We'd be reaching out to our allies. And of course, the fake news media would be propping it up. Look, they do a rinse repeat over and over again. First, they did Russiagate and waited 4 years to get to the truth. Then they did the Ukraine impeachment fiasco and waited a year on that one. Now, Hunter Biden's laptop. 2 years later, the mainstream media has finally come around because of reporting like yours to force them to acknowledge the truth.
And yet it's been acknowledged, but Joe Biden is still somehow protected. And now this, where is the actual laptop? The one that was given to the FBI by that guy at that Wilmington, Delaware computer shop? We don't exactly know. Now, this came up today during a hearing on Capitol Hill. Matt Gaetz has been a hero on this, confronted the assistant FBI director on cyber. Look at what happened.
You are the assistant director of FBI cyber. I want to know where Hunter Biden's laptop is. Where is it?
Sir, I don't know that answer.
That is astonishing to me. I'm holding the receipt from Max Computer Repair, where in December 2019, they turned over this laptop to the FBI. And what now you're telling me right here is that as the assistant director of FBI cyber, you don't know where this is after it was turned over to you 3 years ago.
Yes, sir, that's an accurate statement.
An accurate statement. You, along with Congressman Devin Nunes, you know all about FBI corruption and malfeasance there. What do you make of that exchange? And do you think that laptop is actually safe?
So as a former terrorism prosecutor who dealt with the FBI and the cyber division, just for your audience, the assistant director for cyber at the FBI is one of the senior most officials in all of the FBI and the #1 cyber computer expert at the FBI. And for him to come to testify before Congress, before the Judiciary Committee, knowing our great Matt Gaetz was going to ask him these questions, and he says, I don't know, where the most critical piece of information and evidence around the Hunter Biden laptop scandal, where the laptop is outrageous. Either it is the extreme level of incompetence that has corrupted so many at the leadership levels of the FBI, or it's another Russiagate-sized scandal, which we've only begun to peel back. And where that laptop is, it better be in an evidence bag in a security room at a police station or some FBI headquarter field office, because if it's not, they're going to come out and say, oh, we lost chain of command and we don't know what's on it anymore and we can't use it.
Given what you know about the FBI, is that conceivable? Could they really have just thrown this thing away?
It's conceivable, unfortunately, that some mid-level political bureaucratic hack like Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, and those clowns got their hands on it years ago and corrupted it or hid it or displaced it or just flat out gave it back to Hunter Biden. It's not beyond belief when these are the people who shoveled false information to the FBI to surveil a president illegally. Remember, nothing's beyond these people anymore. And why Chris Wray isn't coming to the podium as a director of the FBI? I'm not asking for details of an ongoing investigation. Just confirm that it exists and that you have the laptop that was so easy to get for the public. How can the FBI, with subpoena authority and the Department of Justice backing them, not have it?
More from Matt Gaetz today, pressing the assistant FBI director for cyber on where this thing is.
Have you assessed whether or not the First Family is compromised as a result of the Hunter Biden laptop?
Sir, as a representative of the FBI cyber program, it is not in the realm of my responsibilities to deal with the questions that you're asking me.
Has anyone at FBI Cyber been asked to make assessments whether or not the laptop creates a point of vulnerability?
Sir, we have multiple lines of investigative responsibility in the FBI. They're all available in public source.
Well, I would think you'd know this one.
You know, it's interesting. He claims total ignorance about these matters that might be sensitive for the president. You'll remember, though, when President Trump was president, they were very kind of, I don't know, they wanted to give you the impression that he might be in trouble, but we can't say for sure. We don't reveal matters that are being investigated. You see the difference?
It's a two-scale system of justice that everyone hates, unless you're on the left and in the mainstream media or your name's Joe Biden, because there's one set of rules for them and another for us. And this is just another example. I don't believe for 1 second that the 98% of agents that I worked with in the FBI when prosecuting terrorists around the world couldn't figure out where a laptop is, especially the fourth-ranking highest FBI official in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, which employs 110,000 people. He just did not want to answer the question. And that leads me to believe who told him not to answer that question. That's the only way, under oath, that man doesn't answer that question.
All right. Now, as you remember, the FBI wrapping this thing up, there were a lot of people in the intelligence community who came forward to vouch for this laptop being Russian disinformation. They labeled it Russian disinformation at the critical time in the fall of 2020. There are big names on this list: Clapper, Brennan, Leon Panetta, a former Secretary of Defense and CIA. All these guys signed a letter. Matt Gaetz came up with something very interesting. This is I think this is a proposal that, let me put this up on the screen. The 51 signatories of the letter who publicly and falsely decried Hunter Biden's laptop to be Russian disinformation should be barred from holding any level of security clearances indefinitely. I believe this is a proposed law or a subset, regulation, unlikely to pass, but that's a pretty good idea.
It's an outstanding idea because you cannot have the directors of the CIA, the director of national intelligence, the defense secretary come out and provide false information to the American public and not have repercussions. Holding a security clearance is a privilege. It's not a right given to them just because they were anointed by the Democratic mafia. These can be revoked, and it doesn't have to be a federal regulation. It doesn't even have to be a law. Their clearances can be revoked by the National Security Council apparatus and interagency process. There's no law doing it. Just like we revoked, I believe, James Comey and probably Andy McCabe's because they lost the public confidence to do their jobs. And these people have become the most political animals on planet Earth when they should be safeguarding our nation's secrets and upholding our laws. They have broken and shattered the public trust in these institutions.
Well, Kash Patel, you kept the public trust, very much so. I know that. And by the way, fightwithcash.com is still up and running?
Still up and running. We're filing lawsuits every week on behalf of people who've been defamed. And for the first time, Greg, and I'm going to get you to do it too, I am on social media at Truth Social. You got to join the fun, man. We're having a riot.
All right, at Truth Social. Yes, I have heard all about it. I'm anxious to make the switch. I got to get a handle. I got to register. I got to remember a password. I hate doing that, but I'm going to do it because it's the place to be. Kash Patel, thank you very much, and we'll be right back.